All right, so we are going to get into solving right triangles. This is going to be broken up into two videos, and you'll see here there's two different parts, so we'll do one at a time. But let's just look at a couple things. Important facts: exact trig ratios can be found for the special angles 30, 45, and 60. We talked about that last class. Calculators and computers are used to find ratios for other angles. We actually used to use tables in the backs of books, or even way back a slide rule. But we don't have to do that anymore. And solving a triangle means finding all the other angle measures and side lengths. So we're going to be given two situations when we deal with these triangles. And again, we're going to deal with situation one in this video, and then we'll do the other one. So in this case, we're going to know, so we know they're right triangles, so we're also going to have one of the angles and one of the sides. And we are going to use that information to solve the rest of the triangle. We will need a calculator for this. So let's get out a calculator. You will need to make sure your calculator is in radians. Calculators are different, so I can't go through and tell you how to do that in all of them. Sometimes there's a GR button that stands for degrees, radians, and gradients. Somewhere in your calculator it might say RAD. That means it's in radians. You want to see a DEG or just a D. I'm sure you could look it up how to do that. In this one, this is still a little different than the 83, but I would go to mode and down. Let's see if I can point to it down here. Right now you see radians is selected. I want it in degrees, so I'm going to click on degrees and I can get out of here. So now I'm in degrees. So make sure your calculator is in degrees. So looks like a lot of steps here for solving right triangles, and it is, but once you get the idea down, it becomes pretty simple. So we're going to solving a right triangle is finding all the missing parts. All right, so I will kind of scroll back and forth to what we have here. We'll try to look at the whole thing right now. So locate the angle that you know. And as you get better than this, you might do things in a different order, but for right now, I'm going to try to stay standard and follow these steps. So here's the angle I know, 82. Really tough step. Determine which side you know with respect to the angle. So we have 8, a B, and a C. So the one we know is 8. So what side is that with respect to the 72? Well, that's the adjacent. That's the adjacent leg. Now, determine which side you want to find with respect to the angle. So we could either find B or C. Doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to say let's find B. So what side is that? That, compared to the 72, is the opposite leg. All right, so we're already on step 4. So choose the ratio that deals with the two sides. Well, we have adjacent and we have opposite. So I'm going to put a little key up here. So, ka, toa. So which one of these three, sine is opposite and hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent and hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite and adjacent? Well, we have opposite and adjacent, so we are going to use tangent. So we're going to use tangent. All right, step 5. Now we're going to write the equation using the trig ratios from step 4. So we just decided we're going to use tangent. So tangent of the angle from step 1, so of 72, that's the angle we know, is equal to tangent, remember, is opposite over adjacent. So we're going to do opposite, which is B, over adjacent, which was 8. So that's step 5. Steps 1 through 4, we kind of pick out the information we need. Step 5, we write it in an equation, and now we want to solve this equation. So step 6, it says solve the equation. All right, tangent of 72, we can type that right in our calculator. We just hit the tangent button, 72, and we hit enter. and we go 3.0777. We go to the 10,000th place and we round, equals b over 8. And now to solve this, we can just multiply both sides by by 8 to find b. Now most of the calculators nowadays, you can just hit, you have that answer there of 3.077, you can hit just times 3. Times 8, not times 3, that won't be helpful. Hit enter and you get the value of b is 24.62. Now, we use 4 decimal places when we're trying to find the answer. Oftentimes we just go to 1 or 2 decimal places. We would go to 4 because sine, cosine, and tangent, a lot of them are close. You don't ever just want to go to tenths. So that's why we go so far out to 10,000ths, because there's not a lot of difference sometimes between two of them. So that is side B. We solved the equation. Step 7, find the other leg using trigonometry again. Steps 1 through 6, or the Pythagorean theorem. Honestly, as you get better, trigonometry is quicker. And for the practice, let's just use trigonometry again. So back to step 1, locate the angle that you know. All right, we'll do this one in orange. So we know the 72. The side we know is 8. We do know B now is 24.62, but that was rounded, so we like to keep the exact one. So we know this angle, that's the adjacent leg, but this time we want to find C, which is the hypotenuse. So we determine the side we knew, that was still the adjacent leg. We want to find the hypotenuse. So now we're at number 4, step 4 here. Choose the trig ratio that deals with adjacent and hypotenuse. Well, looking up at our little key here, adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine. So we're choosing cosine. So we want to write our equation. Cosine of the angle we know is equal to, and then we use the definition of cosine, that's adjacent, which is 8, over hypotenuse, which is C. I'm glad we're doing it this way because in our first one, notice the variable was in the numerator, but now it's in the denominator. So we have to do this a little bit differently. We're going to multiply both sides by C. So C is out of the denominator. And we can write C times the cosine of 72. We're going to type that in our calculator. Cosine 72. 4 decimal places, 0.3090 equals 8. And now we divide both sides by that decimal, 0.3090. And so we can do 8 divided by 0.3090, hit enter, and we have found our value for C is 25.89. And then lastly, we can find this other angle, and actually we could have found this angle right away. So we're on step 8, find the missing angle using the triangle sum theorem. We know the 3 angles in a triangle add up to 180. We actually know one of them is 90 already, so 180 minus 90 is 90, and then 90 minus 72 is 18, so angle A is 18. So we found our 3 parts, and that is how you solve right triangles